Gosei Sentai Dairanger!
Hey guys, and welcome to another one of my Gosei Sentai Dairanger episode commentary and reviews. This time it's episode 31, Another Hero Comes Forth. And remember, if you do enjoy what you see, please remember to like and subscribe. It just means a lot on a small channel like this. Now let's get into the episode. The episode opens with a Shitano chanting as a giant Shadam head tells them it's their time to destroy the Dairangers as their chanting reaches its peak. Elsewhere, Kameo is running from the jewel that's following him. Jumping out of a window, he collides with Kazu, who asks him about the jewel, telling him it could be important to the Dairangers. But as Kameo clings to him, the jewel smashes through the window and turns him into a turtle. As Kazu looks on in surprise, Kameo turns back to human again and runs off. As he flees through a field, he's tripped by some spears, as he's taken prisoner by the Shitano, who attack Kazu, who transforms and demands Kameo's freedom, as Shadam arrives telling Kazu to drop his weapon. Kazu throws his sword before launching his diebuster at the Shitano, freeing Kameo as he rushes in to fight, but ends up pinned to a tree as Shadam approaches and places a mask on him. Crying out in pain, he powers down before writhing on the floor as Kameo flees and the other rangers arrive. Shadam tells them they are too late and the cursed mask cannot be removed and Kazu will suffer until he dies, as the masked ranger rushes to attack his teammates as Shadam laughs and the Gorma vanish. Back at HQ, Kaku identifies the mask as Bardu, the most powerful of Gorma curses with no way to undo it. Daigo and Shoji try to remove the mask by pulling and even cutting it, but nothing works, and back at the quarry, Gorma 15 is still fishing into hell, telling Akumaru to hold on a little longer and he can return, as we see him being raised at the end of the line. Elsewhere, Ku is trying to catch the crystal, following Kameo as Gohan tells the man he is really the legendary beast Daimujin. 600 years earlier he fought alongside the Dai tribe, but he loved peace and hated battle, so he left to hide among the humans. But now is the time to fight again, which is why he keeps turning into a turtle. Rin gets a call on her wrist device saying Kazu has escaped, as Kameo stands saying Kazu was stuck with a mask by trying to save him, as he goes to the flying crystal and grabs it. Elsewhere, the other rangers chase Kazu to the roof of a building where they find the Shitano chanting. Transforming, the three rangers fight Koptros and the frenzied Kazu, as Kameo arrives only to be attacked by Kazu, who stops as Kameo shows him the crystal. He goes to throw himself from the roof, but is stopped by Ryu, who asks for his orb. But as the Shitano cause him more pain, Rin and Ku transform. Joining Gohan with the 7 orbs, they summon the bazooka, as Gohan lifts both Kameo and Kiba Ranger's crystals into the air using them to power the bazooka, claiming that now the Super Kiryoku bazooka is born. The Rangers load the weapon and fire at Kazu's face, destroying the mask and freeing the Ranger. As the Rangers rush to him, the Shitano combine as Kazu transforms, and the team use the cannon again, blasting the Gorma, which uses a bomb to become giant. The Rangers summon their guardian beasts, with One Tiger and Ryuseo forming their warrior modes, as Ryu tells Ku to form Kiba-Daio. They fire the Ho-Oh attack, but this time it's reflected right back at them, as a watching Kameo remembers what Gohan told him, as he calls out his beast name while grasping the crystal, transforming him into a giant mechanical turtle. Blasting at the Gorma with his cannons, he's quickly flipped onto his back, stuck until Ryuseo helps him, but this leaves the red beast open to an attack by the Gorma, angering Daimujin, who makes another transformation into his own warrior mode, standing up and blasting the Gorma, before taking Ryuseo inside himself and protecting him as he recharges. Launching out, One Tiger enters, as the Heavenly Palace is placed on top, with Ryuseo lifting the mechs high into the air, before dropping onto the Gorma, destroying it for good. Back at the quarry, Gorma 15 pulls Akumaru from the hole, reviving him, as the boy covers up the hellhole, and the episode ends. Okay, so, we get the new combination, the final combination for this series. We're over halfway through, episode 31. It's a great time to launch it. And it uses everything except the fact that one tiger's hidden inside. So we don't really get to, unlike Ultimate Daijujin, where you had Daijujin, you had Dragon Caesar over the top, and they were all standing inside King Brachion. We have Ryuseo in his warrior form. We have the Heavenly Chi Palace, or Lai Palace, or whatever it was called, which is basically, for Power Rangers fans, it's the attack sleds, I think it was called. They called it the Thunder Assault team. You can see the original packaging in the background there. You've got, obviously, the Firebirds and the others, or Ho-Oh, and the rest of them. But one tiger is inside. And also, I've got to say, he is huge. Obviously, should have a little yellow horn, but they disappear so quickly. I was lucky to even get this one. I've been trying for several years now. But I finally managed to get it, so I'm happy with that. As for the episode itself, Kazu is fighting alone again. And this time he goes up against the Shitano and Shadam. Well, he doesn't do too badly until, he gets overwhelmed, gets that horrible mask stuck on his face, and just goes crazy. We also learn a valuable lesson this episode. It's perfectly fine to shoot your friend in the face, but only with a super bazooka, I might add, but only if they're wearing an evil mask. And interestingly, last time we saw it used against the fast-talking Wanderer, you had the 5 Rangers using it, and they all stagger back quite some way. This time, they just sort of jerk slightly, even though it's powered by all 5 of their crystals, and Ku's crystal, and Kamayo's crystal. So we've got 2 extra crystals powering it, but there's less recoil. So it's more powerful, but less of a blast. And also, going back to Daimujin here, Kamayo was a guardian beast, but he hated fighting, so he became human. This leads me to believe that he isn't the smartest of the guardian beasts, because let's look at human history. Have we ever had a period of peace? I don't get his logic there. Humans are always fighting one war or another, so I don't get why, but there we go. Also, I have noticed that it's been a while since I've heard it, so I could be wrong, but I'm going to put both sounds up. Daimujin sounds a lot like Anguirus from the old Godzilla movies. And hopefully, in editing, I'll be able to get the sounds of both of them up. But, I haven't heard it for quite some time. It does sound very familiar. Very similar. It just made me think of Anguirus. Although, putting the sounds in, I could be completely wrong, but I'm going to leave them in anyway, just so you can say what you think. Or it could even be an inspiration for it, who knows. But going back to this. It's the final combination. This is their Ultra Zord of the season. Now, in Power Rangers, they just called it the Thunder Ultra Zord. In this one, I'm not entirely sure. I think they called it the Heavenly Palace or something like that. And yeah, just they call the finishing move where obviously he spins this like a helicopter propeller, lifts the whole thing up, and then lets it fall on the Gorma, destroying it. And they call it Big Crushing Death. Why not Sumo Crush? Sumo's a Japanese thing. And I could quite... I've watched some sumo. They've recently had like the January championship matches on YouTube, like the highlights and that. It's actually the second year I've been watching sumo. I do quite like... I get terrible scratches all over them in some matches. It looks quite painful. But Sumo Crush, that could be the name for it when, because people sit so close to the ring and the ring's raised up. Sometimes when these guys are thrown out of the ring, they go flying onto, the audience that are sat at the front. That does not look pleasant at all. But, this could be Sumo Crush. Or even, because it is the belly of Daimujin, Belly Flop of Destruction. There's so many names. I mean, let me know in the comments. What would you have called that final move where the enemy is crushed by every mecha of the season? Like every mecha, Gatai, whatever you want to call them. When this thing comes falling down on you and you get crushed and blow up underneath, what would you call that finishing move? Like I say, my suggestions already: Sumo Crush, Belly Flop of Destruction, or Belly Flop Destruction. Anything other than Big Crushing Death. Let me know in the comments, what would you have called it? And finally, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Well, they used the Daimujin footage and the Thunder Ultra Zord footage. And yeah, the whole bits of Ryuseo going in and out, they used all that. They used no new footage. The stuff of the Shitano in their combined form. I'm not sure if I mentioned last time that they appeared. But yeah, it's the only time they used it in Power Rangers. Season 2, episode 25. And it's all stock footage. There's nothing new. And yeah. But, once again, we have this beauty. We have this absolute beauty. And I'm so glad, because I only got Tor very recently. So I am so glad I got him in time for this episode. So that when he finally appears in this one, he's able to make his first appearance here. And on that happy note, I'll see you guys next time.